Hey everyone, this is Professor Luchin. This is the final lecture for the summer 2024 um, Safety 388 class. I'm going to try to keep this kind of short. It's been a busy week so far. Those of you who are in Wisconsin, actually anywhere in the U.S. right now, knows that there was a heat wave that rolled through. Today's Tuesday, and we're starting to get a little bit relief, but still there are some things. What I want to do is I'm not going to do a big fancy video. Just kind of wanted to review some of the course itself and what this was all about. And so, as far as the study objectives go, I think we did, the first 2 weeks, we spent a great deal of time discussing OSHA, the OSH Act, what an inspection's all about, what the follow-up's all about, how to contest, how penalties are calculated. And I hope that information serves you well as you go off into your careers. It's that information is readily available. They do update it from time to time, so it's getting familiar with how to use the OSHA website and going there quite often is important for you. So please do that. We also the textbook. I thought it was right next to me. It's not anymore. Is important as well. And in this final project, everybody, what I want you to be doing is selecting one of the techniques and performing your case study assessment using it and justifying to me in the methods section why you chose that particular technique. And in my review video, after you guys had done the accident investigation project, if you want to call it that, I kind of showed you all how I went through and assessed that. So please do something similar to that. The key is to be fair, to be comprehensive. I should have put in there to be objective. You should be able to collect information and not bias yourself because those results, hopefully will help you render an effective corrective action. And that's what you'll be recommending in your case study. Also, going along with what I had talked about with the OSHA website, going in there and finding best practices. But you don't have to limit yourself to the OSHA website. We didn't do it. We looked at other like NIOSH. There is the American Society of Safety Professionals. There's National Safety Council, Chemical Safety Board, NFPA, NEC. I'm naming these things off, hoping you remember what they all mean. And then there are other professional organizations as well that they have case studies, they've got reports, they've got bulletins, and all that stuff. You have to kind of pick where you want to get your information from. But I try to spend more time locating resources that are maybe more current, or at least were written or reviewed by professionals, experts, if you will. And then demonstrate knowledge and skill of hazard analysis for control. So that's what you guys are going to be doing here at the end is, applying all that was learned. But it's the demonstration of being able to, properly define an issue or a problem, for lack of a better term, using a technique that you've justified to evaluate it and collect data or observations, and then using those results to render or justify your corrective actions which you're recommending. That's what it's all about. We covered a wide range of topics. I should probably stay on that for that very reason. There's a lot to cover. Again, I'd spoken about the first 2 weeks, but if you really look at what we covered from a standard and subpart, we covered most of it. I think we've probably exceeded what you'd receive if you go through like the OSHA 30 training. It definitely more than it. I actually had originally used it as a blueprint, and then I built from it. So it would prepare everybody to start really practicing safety. That's what this course was always all about. In addition to that, I want to talk a little bit about some things I've been working on, because you guys are going to be doing presentations, and I know those of you who I've spoken with and what some of you have put in your reflection each week is that you like when I talk about some of the work that I've done. And so with this heat wave. No, let's go to the video, and I'll show you what I mean by that.
Hey you guys, I am in the plant. It's a little over past midnight on Sunday. We've had a couple hot days. Monday's supposed to be a hot day. So I came in before the third shift and started opening doors and windows, putting fans in openings, and I've been monitoring the temperature. I've been moving things around to try to balance it out. So far things are going pretty good. The important thing is just to test some of the upper windows. I couldn't get them open, but I was able to figure out how to get these open because I found a device that allowed you to do it without getting on a ladder. Pretty clever. Yeah, and it's the conditions outside, high humidity. The temperature is right around 73, 74 degrees. Temperature in the plant right now, where I'm standing, probably like right around 82 to 84 with like a real field temperature of around 86. Trying to get all the areas in the plant to get real feel into the low 80s by tomorrow morning, by 6 a.m. At that point then they'll reassess and figure out what to do. But that's about all you can do sometimes, is if you can take advantage of night cooling and you don't have actual building cooling. You just got to test it out and try it out, and then make instructions. All right, I'll show you some of my stuff on another video.
So I hope you enjoyed that little walk around talking, and that was late at night, early in the morning, Sunday into Monday. And I can share with you some of the work I've done. And this is kind of a bonus, if you will. So I took some time to break down the proposed heat injury and illness prevention standard that was proposed by OSHA. They posted some stuff like 6 months ago, but now they've actually posted something where you can go online and you can take a look at the actual standard. Let's see, where is it here? So here's a copy of mine. It's called Heat NPRM Final Reg Text. I don't know how soon they're going to start enforcing this. I'm sure there'll be something coming out. But what I did is it's about 19 pages in PDF. I broke it all down. So what are some of the main parts? Now, this is for, again, the plant that I'm working at or helping out. So I defined things like initial heat trigger, high heat trigger, heat index, and wet bulb globe temperature. Even though we're not using wet bulb globe temperature, we're using heat index. It's good to know what it is because a lot of the standards refer to it. As far as putting together a plan, it talks about, I put in here what you explicitly, so what I'm going to do is, based on this, I'm going to kind of synthesize it one more level before I present it to management so that we can go through, start checking things off. Because I'm basically going to do a program audit because our current policy is they put it together, but want to make sure that we're at least, at minimum, meaning what OSHA has here. Requirements, if you're at or above the initial trigger, which I believe is 80 degrees, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 80. Oh, that's the high heat. So there's things you have to do. And just, I need to look more into this fan use when the temperature's above 102. I thought it was higher than that when you have to start looking at that. But because at a certain heat level, it doesn't matter how much airflow there is, it becomes a convection oven, is for lack of a better term. And so I need more information here, and I'll show you what I've been doing with that. This isn't finished, obviously. Requirements for its high heat. Now we have a lot of these things already built in. I just need to double check. Emergency response, we really don't have that laid out yet. We kind of rely on our current emergency response system, but I do think it's a good idea to lay out who to contact, how to do it, just because things tend to go wrong when you don't have the right people in place, right? And people need to react. There are training requirements. We kept ours very basic, so we'll have to make it a little more sophisticated and then actually create one for supervisors, though, again, I think I hit most of the stuff when I put this together last year. And then you're supposed to keep all of your monitoring records for up to 6 months. I have all the stuff that I used last year, and I've been documenting what I've been using this year. So we're already there. And then I have to talk to management about affording workers their full pay when they are walking to break while they're on break, and that additional breaks may be required. The OSHA standard does make reference to some of NIOSH's work, and so I acquired, again, this is free. You can find it online, the Occupational Exposure to Heat and Hot Environments, revised in 2016. Again, this is through NIOSH. Here's the citation over here. So it's NIOSH publication number 2016-106. Here, I haven't labeled it yet, but all the things that contributes to heat-related illness. And this is one that I didn't realize, and I need to add it to the program, is that drugs implicated in intolerance to heat. So this is something that needs to be added to the both the basic training and the training that goes to supervisors. Because if anybody is on any of these, we need to keep an eye out for them, make sure they're okay. Here are some of the basic standards. This is all in wet bulb globe temperature, and you see we've got 2 industrial hygiene standards, an OSHA standard, an ISO standard, and a NIOSH standard. This is the National Weather Service provides some great information too, and so that's another group. That and NOAA. What is that? The something. I'm not going to guess what that is. We also reference NOAA. So by region, it kind of gives you an indication. I mean, in the northern states, we're not going to have as high heat, but we're not used to it. So therefore, we're more susceptible to it. Whereas down south, they can actually endure because they're acclimated to it. And opposingly, when it gets cold down there, things shut down. People can't stand it. Whereas those are temperatures in which we could go down and be outside in t-shirts, and we can drive in snow and ice. It's what you're acclimated to. It's what you're used to, which is why the OSHA standard and IOSH talk a lot about getting people acclimated to the heat. When, especially in the late spring, early summer, that they can tolerate more. But you need to give them time to develop that acclimatization. I think that's what it said. Here is a comparison of heat index to wet bulb globe temperature. It's not perfect. It's a very modified one. There are different types of psychometric tables that you can use. But here it kind of gives the advantages comparing the two. Heat index does not take into account airflow. Wet bulb globe temperature is better for outdoors. So for indoors, if you were to go, with a basic modification of the heat index, but you provide good airflow, you're actually protecting your workers more than you think. And so that's, we're going to reevaluate this with the policy we've put together. But I think, that's at least is a good basis in which to build things from. And here is a comparison side by side of wet bulb globe temperature against heat index and how they're calculated and what they're based on. And so there's a lot of better information than what I just brought up in this NIOSH thing here. Again, this is 192 pages, and I actually scrolled through it. There's a lot of great information. It covers both indoor, outdoor, all the research behind it, the biology, the physiology of heat illness and exposure to heat and all that stuff. So it's great. And so some of the things that I had done, as discussed in the video that I showed when I was walking around, this is what I created for a report of the work I was doing. Even on Monday, I was making some predictions, and actually I wasn't spot on, but I was really close to where I was. And I can use this data in order to model what days, what times we might, and where in the plant we may experience, higher heat, and then we can prepare for it. And that's what we were doing on Monday, is I was kind of monitoring it from home, and the people on site were reacting to it. So I do think that on Monday, there may have been a point in which 2 of the workstations may have exceeded the really high heat rate, the extreme high heat rate, in which people would have been sent home. But through the use of fans, an evaporative cooler, and some cooling that I did overnight, we were able to stay open that whole day. And so that is a tremendous savings for the company just by being proactive and understanding things and monitoring things. And that's what I'm going to be writing up more in that report. So here is what I had turned in to the supervisors yesterday at the end of second shift, early third shift, explaining to them where I wanted the fans to go. So I was putting one here. This is drawing air from the south of the building, and there's a big like grassy area there, so it's cooler. It's not super heated like when you have a lot of concrete asphalt. This is where we had a lot of passive air coming in, again from the south, and I'm trying to push air into these stagnant work areas. And then here, this again is a passive entry of cool air. This is from a street though, so not as great as the south side, but I'm blowing it adjacent through this area, trying to cool 3 different workstations. And then here, this is one, again, this is on the south side. This is blowing air more into the general plant, which tends to then kind of cool some of the high ceiling areas. And so this is what a thing I had sent. And then I was following up this morning to make sure that they were taking advantage of night cooling, because that's really what we need to do. That is pretty much, I think, everything that I had wanted to share. Again, I've been monitoring this, and I've been looking at these, and this is what's kind of guiding. I had just contacted second shift supervision to modify the airflow into this area to bring this back down below the orange. It's not dangerous at all. It's just, it's sort of a threshold here. If this was to go back further, you'd see, man, what Monday looked like, and I could actually do that by putting in the last 3 days. I guess I can do 2 days. And you guys can see here, again, there's just so much data, what happened on Monday. So there is no red is because we fought against it. Whenever it kind of creeped up to the red, and it was these 2 areas that I'd predicted would go possibly into the red, we were able to stave it off by moving things around, cooling people down. So yeah, that's the long and short of it for heat stress. It's still, midsummer. We're going to have a lot more heat, a lot more humidity, but I think we're in a really good position to provide evening or night cooling and to actually move air during the day and know when to close doors and windows, and then also provide copious amounts of ice cold water and electrolytes to workers, an air-conditioned break room so they can cool down their body, and then or their core temperature rather, and then also additional training is going to be coming for supervisors so they know how to readily recognize and how to respond very quickly. So that's all I got, everybody. It has been a pleasure working with you all over the last several weeks. I hope you enjoyed the class too, and I hope the things we covered were helpful. Before the class closes early next week, I would say, hey, if there was some stuff that you wanted to capture and take with you, please do it, because once this closes, it closes. And the last thing is, I am looking forward to some of you presenting your case studies on Sunday night at 7, that's Central Time. The links for WebEx are on the Canvas site. They should be in the upcoming here. I will double check on this survey as well. A couple of you asked me questions. I don't know why you haven't received the email. I don't control it. The university does. If they don't get it out, don't worry about it. But it would come directly to you. Yeah. So that's about it. It'd be great to see you. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you all in future classes. If not, if you have questions about safety or health issues, you can reach out to me. You've got my email. Thanks, everybody.